But our top story now, Black Wednesday and Media Freedom Day commemorates the banning of some newspapers and the arrest of journalists on 19th of October 1977. The commemoration will be hosted by the Minister Collins Chabane, Parliament, the MDDA and the SABC tomorrow. The theme for this year is 19 years of media freedom and 10 years of media development and diversity. For more on the story, we're joined from Cape Town by the Press Ombudsman, Thloloe. Mr. Thloloe, good morning to you.
Good morning, Elvis.
Now, as a seasoned journalist who was there during those dark days of apartheid, would you say that print media has transformed compared to what it was in the past, and what areas do you still think needs attention?
Elvis, I'm missing some of your words. It's not coming out very clearly at this point.
So let's take a look at transformation. Do you think that the print media has transformed in 19 years of democracy?
As far as the managerial side is concerned, as far as ownership is concerned, there hasn't been a huge difference between what it was in 1994 to what it is today. But if you look at the editorial content of publications and the editorial stuff, there has been some changes. More still needs to be done, but there has been change.
Now, in terms of human resource, why do you think that change has taken so long?
Basically, I believe it's because we blacks are very reluctant to invest in the media. We don't think the returns are adequate. For example, the few black companies that have ventured into media have quickly pulled out because they thought there wasn't enough return on investment. And that, I think, is at the core of the problem.
Is print media in a crisis, Mr. Thloloe?
In a crisis in the sense that revenues are dropping, advertising revenues are dropping, as well as circulation is dropping. And this is largely because of the internet encroaching into the area of print.
So the internet and social media does pose a danger to the print media section?
I wouldn't say it poses a danger, but what I'm saying is that there is a revolution taking place inside the communications industry. Probably the same type of revolution you had during the Industrial Revolution in the 1890s or whatever. But ultimately, we are hoping that this is going to settle at a point where print and the internet will live comfortably side by side.
Now, looking at transformation as a whole, women editors are still a rare species in most newsrooms. How long do you think it will take to get as many women in senior editorial positions as possible?
I think we should be very careful before we say that. If you look at the City Press, for example, it's edited by a woman. You look at the Sunday Star, it's edited by a woman. You look at some of the magazines are edited by women. So there is some movement as far as that is concerned. It's not as if women are completely kept out of it.
The State Protection and Information Bill, or the Info Bill as many would call it, how do you think it impacts on media freedom?
Ultimately, we believe that it is the Constitutional Court that is going to adjudicate on this matter. At this point, the industry is still at loggerheads with the security ministry. They believe they have addressed all our concerns, and we believe that our major concern is still not properly addressed. But ultimately, it's the Constitutional Court that is going to decide. The Constitution is our main defense against any encroachments on press freedom.
Mr. Thloloe, does the info bill somehow remind you of what happened on that fateful day on the 19th of October 1977?
No, there's absolutely no comparison. What happened in October 1977 was immoral, completely immoral. What is happening now is that we do accept the fact that South Africa needs legislation to protect its state secrets, just like any other country in the world. But we are worried about the way in which this law is being crafted. We have had discussions with the lawmakers, and we have made some progress. But on the one point where we say we should have a public interest defense, that's where we disagree completely.
And just briefly, Mr. Thloloe, has journalism changed in the 19 years of democracy in South Africa?
Journalism has changed. It was bound to change. The story in 1977 was a very simple story. You were either for apartheid or against apartheid, and everything you wrote or you covered depended on your position on those two, your place in those two positions. Today's story is a much more complex story. You are trying to cover the story of a nation trying to pull itself out of the effects of oppression.
Mr. Thloloe,
and the people who are trying to pull themselves out are both the erstwhile oppressors as well as the erstwhile oppressed. So it's a much more complex story.
Mr. Thloloe, thank you so much for your time. That is South Africa's Press Ombudsman, Mr. Joe Thloloe, on the line from Cape Town to us.